Hey everybody, happy Art Talk Tuesday. My name is Jackie G and I'm with Gortzman's Art Supplies here in Toronto. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to wave hi to everyone because you know I always forget to do that. I want to welcome anyone who's watching us from Canada, US and beyond. So thanks very much for tuning in. If you like what you see, please like us on Instagram. Let us know what you think. We're here to share with you information that we have on art materials. For those of you that don't know us, we've been in art materials for over 50 years and we are located in downtown Toronto. So if you're ever in the area, please stop in and say hi. I love to hear feedback. I love when people come in and if they happen to see me on the floor to tell me that they've really enjoyed these talks. I love talking to you. I love sharing information. And that's really what it all is all about. So for the past couple weeks, I've been talking about different supplies that we have. It can sometimes be daunting when you walk into an art supply store and you look around and you see a lot of color. You're not exactly sure what you're looking at. We are a very long, not very wide store, but we've packed a lot of punch with all of the products that we have. And so I've been focusing on a lot of the specifics that we have. So I started with oil paints to show you the different brands that we carry. Last week was acrylic, and this week is watercolor. So I hope you can stay for all of my chat. I've got a lot of information to share with you. If you see anything that you like, we do have it in our store and online, so it's in both places. I do suggest that if you, I have information to tell you about all of these products, but again, if you're really interested in the history of some of these brands, check them out online. I've got some basic information to share with you, but they are fascinating. And so, again, today is watercolor. And what I've done this time is to set up a little bit differently than usual. I have my notes ready to go because I know when I start talking, I do, believe it or not, I do get nervous. And so I don't want to forget to tell you about some of the products that we do have here. So I've set it up to start with history, and we're going to go actually starting from this side, and there is a reason for it. So I hope you're going to join me. Stay as long as you can. Again, if there's something that you see and you have any questions, please let us know. And while you're tuning in, if you have questions, you can ask them. I'll do my best to answer it, or it might be something that we can get in touch with you afterward. So, for those of you that don't know, the oldest watercolor, the first watercolors ever made, were actually Winsor Newton. And Winsor Newton was started in 1835. They developed the first moist watercolor using a lot of, whoops, you see, I'm already taking things apart here, glycerin. They started with pans, which were very simple and easy to make. Artists like Turner used them for his watercolor paintings. Watercolor tubes, believe it or not, were introduced in 1845. So the first watercolors ever made were actually Winsor Newton. They did share with me, the company, some juicy tidbits, which I thought I'd share with you because you will probably not find online. The name Cotman, and I didn't pull out the Cotman, that's their student quality, comes from the English botanical painter John Sell Cotman. Winsor Newton introduced the color cadmium yellow as aurora yellow at the Great Exhibition, which is a World's Fair, in 1851. The company was started by an artist and a chemist, William Winsor and Henry Newton. They started at a home. It was actually Henry's home, who was the artist at his home in London. And because it was part of an area where there were so many artists living, they got them to test it out, to share, just talk about the pigments, the way the paint was being made. And the symbol of Winsor Newton, which is a griffin, if you've ever seen it on their packaging, is the merging of animal forms to create their the name and the symbol. And they use it as a merging of art and science, chemist and artist. I thought that was actually very cool. I don't think I've ever known that before in all the years that we've carried it. In fact, another tidbit, Winsor Newton when they first started, also made plein air tents for artists. So plein air painting has been around for hundreds of years. So if you're thinking about plein air painting, you're joining a long list of artists that have been doing it for a very, very long time. If you haven't tried it, we've got lots of choices to show you the way you can try plein air painting using watercolor and sometimes get everything that you need and make it very simple for yourself. The next in my choice to show you is actually Schmincke. Schmincke was produced in 1881. Joseph Horadam and Hermann Schmincke. It was 1891 when they started producing their watercolors and they got the patent. Their goal, and I'm assuming it was the same for Winsor Newton, was to create the best watercolors for artists. Whoops. Then we go to Sennelier. And for anybody who's been to Paris, you can visit the Sennelier stores. Very nice company. It's the same thing. They've been making their paints for over 100 years. They use gum arabic as the bonding agent and honey. They love the way that they meld and mix, and they grind them the traditional way. And there's lots more information online that you can find out, but I really wanted to start with 3 of the oldest companies that make watercolors. So you're, as I say, anytime you buy something, you know you're in good company. The other one I was going to show you was Kuretake. So now we're moving a little bit different part of the world. Kuretake was founded in 1902 by Narakichi Watani, and they were actually manufacturers of products for sumi painting. It was also a family business, and their idea was to introduce products that were great for anyone who wanted to do handwriting or crafting by hand. They talk about their watercolors starting in the 1990s, but to be honest with you, I've been seeing these products for so long, I'm quite sure we had them earlier than that, but because I can't date it, I didn't want to tell you that they were out any sooner. What I will tell you, though, that these are all new for us. We haven't had these before. So these just arrived. This is a travel size set from Kuretake. It's kind of cool, folds up small. It's got the water dispenser, and you get a bamboo brush and a small pencil. I did also test replacing this small brush with one of the products. Actually, I'm going to pull it out while we're here, just so I can show you. And it's one of the Tintoretto brushes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not coming up fast enough here. There we go. Sorry about that. So this is a mini brush that we have from Tintoretto. You can see that it's quite small. And when you open it up, it still is quite small and compact. It's only about 4 to 5 inches. But if you like and you want to use that instead, it will fit nicely into that Kuretake palette. And you can take it with you. So just an option there if you're thinking about something that's a little bit unusual. So Kuretake, Japan, we've gone from England, Germany, France, now we're in Japan. And then we're going to move to, where do I have him here? Daniel Smith. So Daniel Smith was actually started by an artist named Dan Smith. He started the company in 1976. He actually sold his motorcycle because he wanted to become an art materials retailer. What's interesting about Daniel Smith, anytime that I've met them at trade shows, they've got a fantastic display, and what they do is they show all of their pigments that they use with the color of the tube. So when I go to see them at a show, I will actually see quinacridone coral, and then they'll have something with it to show where the pigments come from or what they've used to make it. So it's really great. They're one of the only companies that do that type of thing. So what they write is that they derive their pigments from semi-precious minerals and other unique geological deposits. They are also known for their Prima Tech line, a collection of colors derived from turquoise, amethyst, lapis lazuli, which a lot of brands are now making, and many others. They also launched not only their extra fine, they've introduced quinacridone colors, and you're all familiar with all of those funky iridescent and weird mineral shades that they make, which are really cool, that are not necessarily available from all the other brands. And one thing that I just wanted to also show, because grounds I'm not really talking about, but they did start their different assorted color grounds, and that was in 2011. So they're a relatively recent company that's been manufacturing watercolors. And let's see, where in the world are we going now? Now we are going to Krakow, Poland. So these are new for us. These are made, this is Roman Small, sorry. They are made in Krakow, Poland by the manufacturer Roman Small. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about him because he's an interesting person. I do hope that I'm going to be able to interview him and you'll be able to hear from him about his manufacturing and his process. He was actually a distributor for Kremer Pigments, so those of you that are familiar with the pigment company. He decided that he knew enough about pigment and binders and everything else that he wanted to get into paint manufacturing. He wanted to make the best product on the market. So he worked with in developing the product. He gave out samples to a lot of artists so that they could test it, and he got a lot of great feedback. He uses different additives, which I found very interesting for each color. So it's not always the same for each color that he makes. It depends on the pigment that he's working with. He has 180 colors, which is a lot to choose from. He uses mostly single pigment pigments, which he thinks is best for artists as well. And there's a lot of non-traditional names, so when you look at the list of his colors, there's a lot of really interesting names that he has. We do have all of the open stock and his sets, so I actually don't have any cakes here. He does a large cake, not the half pan, so his are a large pan. His paints, which he's very proud of, are filled by hand, not by machine, so it takes a longer time. They're very thick viscosity, and he's very, very proud of it. In fact, I have to say we are very pleased to have his product too. It has become very well known all over the world, so I would certainly check them out to see, because you may not be familiar with the name, but you should be. As I say, he's got very unique, and he does large pans. So these are Roman Small, and we do have them on display here if you're looking to make your own palette. We do carry empty palettes as well, and I've got a couple, I think, out here that you'll be able to see. So certainly check them out. He's also a very nice person. Then we're actually moving, right now, we're going to Canada, because we're still talking about watercolors. Sorry, Andrea, I tried to set this up so I take us in line here. Now, Stone Ground. Stone Ground is our manufacturer from Canada, made in Regina. And they were established in 2016 by Eric Rowe. I'll get this out of the way so you can see this. And he's a self-taught artist with over 40 years of experience. He wasn't happy with the quality that he was getting from other suppliers or manufacturers, and he decided to make his own. He used a 100-year-old recipe, and then they launched Stone Ground. They do mix it with, there is some honey in it. He is working with his daughter and son-in-law in the business. So there you go. And there is a common thread here, which I'll point out if it's not obvious yet when we get to the end. Next one is Beam Paints. Beam Paints, again, if you're not familiar with it, you got to get to know these people. It is made by Anong Beam. Her father was Carl Beam, mother Anne Beam, both accomplished artists here in Canada, made in Manitoulin Island. If you've read anything about Anong, she's a fascinating person. She sources her pigments from all over the place, including a lot of places all in the area of Manitoulin, wherever she can. A lot of the names, when you look at her name colors, are in Ojibwe, which sound fascinating. They are also in English. And so I always like to showcase a lot of these because, you know, they're just such fascinating companies and people. Now we're going to move to, and so what I wanted to show you was, and there is a common thread here, and I'll point it out now. A lot of these companies, just like myself, we all come from family businesses. A lot of these are not started or anything by large companies. They all started small, and some of them have grown to be very large and expanded their ranges, but they all started with a common thread that they wanted to work with artists. They wanted to make something better. I love reading about family businesses and how a lot of these places got started. It's a fascinating tidbit that you just get to learn that we all, we all have that common thread. I find it very, very exciting. Before I move on to show you some of the other exciting things, coming out new for 2023 is Michael Harding. So Michael Harding, who you may or may not be familiar with, is well known for his oil paints, one of the best brands in the world in oil. He has just launched watercolors. They're only available in 15 ml tubes. We will have them in stock in the next few weeks, so any of you that are really hoping to try them, we will have them very, very soon. Let me just see. So then I wanted to show you, so that's really taking care of a lot of the watercolor brands that we stock. I love, and you do know that I like to curate what we carry. I don't carry everything that's available in the world. I love connecting with brands that you may not be familiar with or haven't seen before. That to me is, I find it exciting, and if I find it exciting, you're going to find it exciting too, because it's a little bit different. So I then wanted to show you the progression, how some things have changed in the areas of watercolor, what's available to you, new products that are out. So we're going to start with Schmincke, and Schmincke is a brand from Japan, and there's a couple reasons why I'm showing this. Now this is the Schmincke poster color. This was started by an artist in the 1950s. And they were interested, actually you can tell from my t-shirt, and there's a reason why I'm wearing the t-shirt today. Schmincke paints have been used by Studio Ghibli. So anybody who's interested in the Studio Ghibli movies, they are relaunching one today, which is in theaters. You can go and check it out. But a lot of their paintings, the original paintings, were all the backgrounds and everything else were done with the Schmincke paints. So if you're looking to look at something that is actually historical, about the 1950s, this is the paint to take a look at. This is only one size set. We do have larger sets right now, hoping to get even more stock in very, very shortly, but certainly check them out. Then, yes?
Someone wants to know where our store is located.
So we're located in Toronto. We're on the famous street of Spadina Avenue. We're at 448. We're between Kensington Market and Chinatown, which I love to tell you I think are the two best areas to be, whether you want to check out art supplies or if you want to get some great food, this is the area to be in. So I hope we'll see you. Check us out. The other product that Schmincke makes is designer's gouache, which is fantastic. And I guess that's a good way for me to lead into talking about gouache and brands that make it. Oh, I did forget to talk about one brand of watercolor, which we do have, and that is Holbein. And I can't believe that I forgot that one. And I do have some of their history somewhere. But Holbein is also Japanese. They make wonderful paints. I happen to have out here their acrylic gouache, which we'll be talking about as well. And we also stock their regular standard gouache. Beautiful colors. In their gouache, you can get all kinds of sets now, Japanese, traditional Japanese colors, anything that you can imagine. Acrylic gouache is newer on the market. So what they've done was, because gouache can be reconstituted, they've added a medium to it, which makes an acrylic gouache more permanent. So we do have it by Holbein, and we also stock it in Liquitex. Liquitex makes these great jars in case there's something that you want to fill in a larger area. So you do have options. And again, acrylic gouache is even more permanent. And then you've got your standard gouache, which we have in several different brands. I happen to pick the Holbein because it's one of my favorites. and also the knicker, which is also a fantastic one. And it's been very, very popular with our customers. And then I sort of pulled out some cool stuff because I wanted you to see that there's lots of options in watercolor. So nowadays, because things have been changing, you can get so many different ways of working with watercolor. You're not stuck always on the traditional tube and cake if you don't want it to be. I mean, there's lots of choices if you do, and they're fantastic. But even as far as what it costs for you to try watercolor, you know, we've got all these great sets, whether they're student and or professional. These are great sets from Royal Talons. I've pulled out a couple for you to see. You get this set of 24 assorted colors. You've got gouache if you want to test it out and see how much you're going to love it in smaller sets. These are a great option. The other things that are really new are getting into pencils. So you've got these great sets. This is one particular one from Faber-Castell. We have Winsor Newton. So if you love working with colored pencils, just imagine what you can do with a water-soluble pencil. So you can either dip them in water and then draw with them. You can draw with them and then use your brush on them, whatever you like. There are so many options. And when they're in a metal tin, it makes it great just because you can grab your pad and your pencils and your brush and you're on your way. I also wanted to show the Art Graph, which is a graphite. And then there's this really cool one that we now carry, and they don't look so pretty because they're always in the stand. This is a water-soluble graphite. This is by Lyra. They come in a 6B and a 9B, and when you dip these in water and put them down on paper, the color is just so black and it moves so beautifully. And they're a very, very cool product. So if you love working with graphite, if you love giving a good handle on something and moving something around, these are really cool to check out, and we do have them in the store. I also wanted to show, these are brand new for us. These are also a watercolor marker. I'm actually going to open these up so you can see them. We have them on display too here in the store, and my staff tested them, so it was to make sure that we would like them, and we absolutely love them. And they're not really expensive, and they do come in these very cool double-ended. So you've got the fine point on that end, and then you've got, that's nice and tight. Then you've got the brush on that end. And they're, as I say, really, really neat. We just got them in the set, so these are very, very new for us. But the open stock we do carry as well.
Someone says this is really cool. Have you guys done, we'll be doing an acrylics live?
We did an acrylics live last week. So we did. You can find it in our listing of our IGTV, or you can check it out on YouTube. So anything that you see, or anytime we're doing a talk, we do release them again later on because there are a lot of people that can't watch when we are live. So yes, you can check out and see what we do have in our acrylics on IGTV and YouTube. Am I correct, Andrea? Yes. Okay. Didn't miss anything there. So also talking about compact and easy things to do and colors and everything else. This is also pretty cool. This is by Viviva, and I'm going to open it so you can see it. And again, you know, adding to what you can get in watercolors, just something that's compact and small, and that's always what I'm trying to promote. So these are color sheets, and I'm going to remove that so you can see that. And so what's really neat about it, that is actually a watercolor. So what you would do is take your brush, wet it, and you get that started so that you can see it. What we always recommend is take a bit of the color and go over the actual name so that you can actually tell what the watercolor will look like when you put it down. But this has got a sheet. This is like a vegetable parchment between each one so you don't make a real mess. And you've got all these different colors. We have two different sets that are available. So one will have metallics and different colors and iridescence, and the other one are all your standard colors. You've got a sheet at the back if you want to use it for mixing, if you don't want to take your own little palette with you. And then, of course, you know, I wanted to show something like the Fine Tech, which is right next door, because now you can get all these lovely highlights that if you wanted to add that to your painting, if you didn't want to buy a color but you want to just add something as a tint, Finetec makes that beautiful set that we carry, and it's just such a nice option. They are available individually. We're kind of low in stock, just waiting for some new product. I didn't talk about brushes. I didn't talk about palettes. I've put out a lot of different brands that we have. Probably a couple things that I'll show you that just arrived, because my staff know that I always take from our shipments to show you things that are actually not on the website yet, to their dismay. But I will show you that we now have some of the empty pans in stock. These are by Whiskey Painter. So if you're looking to fill your own cakes, or you're looking to replenish or add to an empty palette, and let me just show you, we have a fantastic line of empty palettes which you can then put your own cakes in. We do carry the metal in all different sizes, so it does fit all of the standard cakes. We did actually also just get in some, I'm waiting for more batch, and these are quarter size pans, so it's half the size of the half pan, which makes a lot of sense, but I didn't even think about it. So they're even smaller, and I know these have been very popular on Pinterest. So if you're thinking of making just a very small cake for yourself, or doubling up whatever you have, those are kind of cool. And as I say, these things have just arrived. Another item that just arrived, and so I'm really not supposed to be showing it, are these little mini palettes. So these are very, very small. They're going to close like that. And then when you open it, it has two magnets which will hold it together. We're going to be setting these up a little bit differently. We do have a clip and an elastic coming in, which I think will be a really nice addition to this set. We will also recommend that you stick the cake down, because these are loose. So I would just take a little glue dot, and I'm not going to try and remove it now because they'll all fall. Put a little bit of a glue dot underneath, and then, as I say, you've got this tiny little palette that you've made up yourself, and you can carry it with you. We also just received these really nice stands, and I just wanted to show you because they're just so cool. So we have them in two sizes. They're just really, really pretty. That's enough. I don't even know what else to say about them. I think they look fantastic, and they'll look great anywhere. They also make a great gift. They're not really expensive. So if you're looking for something just a little bit different, check them out. I have not talked about all the paper that we carry. I haven't shown you all the different ways that you can use your masking fluid, all the fantastic brushes that we carry from Tintoretto or Da Vinci. There's a lot of stuff, but I didn't want to overwhelm you with too much information. This is just to show you a lot of things that we carry. I get very excited in sharing it all with you. Andrea, do you have any questions? Because if you do, I'm going to say yes, please ask them now. And if not, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I love showing you all of these products. Next week will be something that's a little bit different, so I look forward to seeing you then. And in case you like any of these items, we do have a sale on now. It's our customer favorites. So a lot of these items will be on sale on our website and in the store. And of course, if you're coming in the store, I'd love to see you. And we have a couple of questions.
What is the name of the new Faber-Castell markers? I guess these guys over here.
They're the Goldfarber Aqua. So these are the new sets that we have, and then again, we do have them in open stock as well.
And then the second question, when can we order those tiny wooden palettes?
Give it a few days, because they need to photograph and they need to get the descriptions. And again, I may hold off actually for a little bit, because I do want to get in the clip. There's a very particular clip that I'm waiting for, and I have another idea for an elastic. So I really want to make it into a nice little kit before we release it. So it actually might be a couple weeks. I'll do my best to get it up sooner, but we'll see. So again, thank you very much. Our company again is Gortzman's Art Supplies. If you enjoyed today, please like us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with our customer service. We're always here to connect with you. And until then, please keep on creating. Bye-bye for now.